Yo, Leak, are you there? Yo, what's up, Hope? I've been calling you for days. You need to drop the Black Phone 2 vid. I know, my subs have been rushing me for it. I promise I'll drop it soon though. Soon? You need to drop it now. Today's the day, So the movie starts, and we see Finn giving this kid the belt. And nah, the rage bait had to been crazy, because bro's out here moving different. He's absolutely punishing this kid, beating him like he stole something. You know it's bad when even Gwen's begging him to stop. Out here like... Now, despite this guy begging for mercy, Finn continues to beat him to a pulp. And when he's finally done, we learn that the only reason Finn beat him up was because he was talking crazy. Apparently, bro heard that Finn bodied the grabber and thought it was a good idea to talk recklessly. So Finn took a page out of Robin's handbook and destroyed him. Even quoted him too, talking about the more blood, the better. Like, my bad, Finn, I wasn't familiar with your game. My boy came a long way from getting bullied by dorks. Robin's little bro named Ernesto pulls up, and he starts spitting game to Gwen. Not gonna lie, doing this in front of Finn right after seeing what he just did is kind of crazy. Like, I know you little bro and all, but if I was him, I'd be kind of nervous. Now we see that Finn is still traumatized from being kidnapped, because while he's outside enjoying a smoke, we see the grabber randomly appearing in his front yard, and he's straight trolling him too. Everyone's asleep and Gwen starts having her dreams. She dreams about this camp at Alpine Lake, which isn't that far from them, and in her dream, she sees a boy in a yellow jacket enjoying the camp activities. But things take a turn for the absolute worst, as we see him getting chased by the grabber right before getting bodied, and the grabber didn't just pack him up. He got a hold of him and started cutting him like a fish. Then he tossed his body under some ice at a lake, only for him to never be found. Now, despite being dead, we see him writing the letter W in the ice. Like, that's gotta mean something, right? Gwen wakes up and she hears her phone ringing, but this phone isn't ringing from her house. No, it's ringing down the street, meaning that this definitely involves the grabber somehow. Finn reveals that Gwen was sleepwalking this entire time, and when she tries to tell him about her dreams, he just tells her to go to sleep. Now, from this reaction alone, you can tell that Finn already knows, but he's just doing his best to ignore it all. Don't believe me? Well, let me show you this next scene. Right here, he walks out of this store and hears this black phone ringing. He pauses staring at it before he decides to answer. And when he does answer, he quickly tells the other person that he cannot help them, which seems normal until he puts the phone down and we see that the phone doesn't even work, proving that he's already aware of what's happening. Now, Gwen has another dream about one of the grabber's camp victims. And in this dream, we see the grabber's most insane kill yet, as he's chopping this boy into pieces like it's an episode of Dexter. As if that wasn't enough, he tosses his remains into an oven, burning them. Like, nah, this nigga is sick. What would even possess you to want to do something like this? Similar to the last kid from Gwen's dream, this one carves a B behind a W. Gwen gets out of bed and goes into the front yard. As she steps in a puddle of blood before seeing the boy's burnt remains, she hears the phone ringing again, and this time she follows it into the grabber's basement. Then when she answers, we see that it's her mother calling from Alpine Lake. And this is still so insane to me. The writers were actually cooking here. They had Gwen communicating with a younger version of her mother, while also revealing that they both had the same dreams about the boys. Gotta give it up, this is a great use of Gwen's dreams. Now, the grabber's brother appears telling Gwen that she needs to leave. Then we see someone coming down the stairs, putting straight fear into Gwen's heart. Turns out it was just Finn who followed her from the house, and they go home for a night's rest. So it's the next day and Gwen is demanding that they go investigate Alpine Lake, because obviously something's not right about that camp. But Finn, being traumatized, wants nothing to do with the grabber. Their dad walks in and sees the brochure. Then he reveals that their mother used to work there, basically confirming that everything happening with Gwen is no coincidence. And with that being said, Finn, Gwen, and Ernesto all travel to Alpine Lake to investigate. Because of this blizzard, there's nobody at this camp except the workers. Finn and Ernesto gets bumped together while Gwen has to sleep alone, which is low-key crazy. Like, damn, y'all gonna make her sleep in an empty cabin alone? And if that wasn't enough, Gwen starts dreaming again. She has a dream about the third victim, and he carves the letter H into the ice. Then his face begins to separate, waking Gwen the up. Finney's outside smoking when this black phone rings, and when he answers, he tells them that he cannot help them. The phone rings again, and this time Finney's trying to figure out who it is. But before we learn, we cut back to Gwen peeping under this bed. Now, it seems like she's just paranoid, but the moment she relaxes, she gets jump scared by a kid from her dreams. We get back to Finney, who's somehow now on the phone with the grabber. He tries running but gets trapped in a phone booth. Meanwhile, Gwen's being terrorized by the boys in her dreams. Do you know how shook I would be right now? I would be in tears. The grabber tells Finn that hell isn't flames, it's ice. And when Finn shuts the phone off, the window closes, splitting this boy's face in half. Like, ew. Gwen freaks out and starts losing her mind, and I do not blame her, because what's even happening right now? She did not sign up for this. Finn finally wakes up Gwen and she's having a mental breakdown. So he does what any good brother would and lets her sleep in the boys' cabin. The next day, the three are eating breakfast with Mondo, and he's trying to figure out why are they even here, because it is sus that they just randomly appeared at this camp. Gwen tells him that their mother was a counselor there before asking Mondo if he remembers her. And after Mondo sees the picture, he completely remembers her, telling them that her name was Starlight. He also tells them that the payphone outside does not work, confirming that the grabber has made his return. Oh nah, they don't free horror movie Diddy. Finn hears the phone ringing, so he goes out to answer it. Then the grabber's victim spawn in out of nowhere, asking Finn to find him. Gwen and Ernesto ask Barbara and Ken about the camp's past murders. Then Barbara starts getting smart with Gwen, which is the last thing you want to do here, because we all know Gwen does not play that shit. She asks Gwen if she's always had a filthy mouth. Then Gwen hits her with the
"Have you always been such a sanctimonious twat?"
And that's exactly what I like to hear. Talk that shit, Gwen. Later on, Gwen has a dream about her mother. We learn that her mother was also able to talk to the grabber's past victims, just like Finney. And here she's trying to help free one of them. A victim spawns in behind Gwen, so she chases him into the woods. Then he disappears and another one tags in. He shows Gwen exactly where he died at and how the grabber acts his face in half. Now, little bro, it's cool that you're helping out and all, but you could have did this before you tormented her. Gwen gets up because her mother's opening and closing this door, which isn't creepy at all, by the way. Then the payphone starts ringing again, waking up Finn. Gwen sees the boy who got tossed into the oven, so she follows him. Then Finn sends Ernesto to look for Gwen while he finally confronts the grabber. Yes sir, we are about to get peak. Finn tells the grabber that he's supposed to be dead, and the grabber tells him that dead is just a word. The grabber begins oral forming, telling Finney that he's just not warming up, and we gotta give the writers another round of applause, because right here they were absolutely cooking. Like, making the grabber hunt them from the dead was such a W move. They really made him into a modern Freddy Krueger. Nah, that's tough. Gwen's in the kitchen where the third victim died. Then the oven goes off in flames, making Ernesto and the counselor sprint towards Gwen. The grabber tells Finney that he will hurt him in ways that he can't imagine, because not only did Finn make him axe his brother, but Finn also packed him up. And now it's time for the grabber to exact his revenge by taking away the one person Finn loves the most.
Man, shit done got serious.
Now the grabber spawns inside of Gwen's dream to run the fade, and this scene was absolute cinema, the definition of peak, because they get the boxing. He swings twice but misses both attempts. Bro just airballed 2 free throws. Nigga, you're trash. He goes low, making her fall. Then tell me why this nigga had the audacity to start emoting. Nah, why he out here moving like his Fortnite character? Which reminds me, how the f is he even in the game? But I digress. He goes for the down smash, cutting Gwen's forehead before turning the axe in an attempt to choke her. Everyone else walks in and they cannot believe their eyes, because nah, why Shotty on the ground tweaking? No, they were straight confused in that bit, like Now the grabber seen everyone watching and decided to put on a show, because he slams her into a wall before dragging her across this table.
Oh no! Our table!
And if you thought that was a violation, just watch what happens next. The grabber picks up Gwen, wearing her as a human backpack. Then he starts spinning her around and around in a circle. Like, ref, do something. She gets tossed into the kitchenware, then the grabber picks her back up, and he attempts to toss her into the oven like a human lasagna. And everyone's just watching too, like y'all niggas are useless.
This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Ernesto couldn't let his shawty get easy bake, so he tries to help. Then when everyone else tries, they get blitzed by a whole bunch of pots and pans. Now eventually Finn walks in and the grabber decides to retreat. He trolls as he disappears into the night, and now everyone's just in shock. Later, Finn and Gwen explain to everyone who they actually are and what's happening. They realize that the boys from Gwen's dreams were the grabber's first victims, meaning that he's only able to return to this camp because he's feeding off of their lost souls. The 3 boys' bodies were never actually found, so they decide to find the bodies and free their souls, which will basically make the grabber powerless and put an end to all of this. Nah, bro's whole career was made from bothering kids. Nigga moving like Dan Snyder. They realized that when the grabber got his first bodies, he was actually a counselor at the camp, and this was at the same time as Gwen and Finn's mom. The grabber's real name was Wild Bill Hickok, which is why the 3 spirits were carving his initials in the ice. Gwen tells Mondo about the boys being under ice in her dreams. Then he realizes that their bodies were at the frozen lake, because that's exactly where Wild Bill would spend all of his time at. So they decide to head to the lake the next morning and find the boys. So it's the next day and everyone's looking for the bodies. But after a whole day of removing straight snow, they actually find nothing and call it a night. Gwen's about to go to sleep, hopefully finding more clues about the victims. But when she goes to sleep, she dreams about Paperboy, which at first doesn't make any sense at all until we see that her mom also had dreams about Paperboy. Similar to Gwen in the first movie, her mom also had dreams about the missing boys. But her mom got way too close to the truth because she knew that Wild Bill was the grabber. And instead of calling the police or at least bringing her husband, she goes to his crib alone. After seeing Billy in the basement, she tries to run away, but it was too late because the grabber ended up kidnapping Hope and tossing her into his van. Now this whole time the grabber has been showing this vision to Gwen, so he welcomes her into the van. He takes her back to her house, and what we see next is absolutely heartbreaking as we find out that Hope never actually bodied herself. She had gotten too close to the truth, so the grabber killed her before staging it to make it look like she did it. And seeing the dad's reaction was low-key heartbreaking. Now the grabber doesn't even give Gwen a chance to process this because he instantly starts chasing her through the house with an axe. She gets to the basement and the kid tells her to hide, and when the grabber comes down, we see him creeping around the corner stalking her. She tries going through the meat locker, but it's locked from the outside, just like it was for Finney when he got kidnapped. Then the grabber wastes no time axing her arm. Gwen's taking damage in real life, so Finn's trying to wake her up. Then we cut back to Mondo and he's actually finding the first body. The phone rings and Gwen answers thinking that it's Hope, but it was actually the grabber. While Mondo's breaking the ice, the grabber's right behind him doing the same. Then Mondo falls through the ice and the grabber tries drowning him. Finn, Ernesto, and Mustang all do their best to wake up Gwen, but despite what they try, nothing actually works. The grabber breaks through the phone booth, wrapping up Gwen with the phone cord. And at first it looks like he's just choking her, but that was just the beginning because he starts violating her again, letting it rip and spinning Gwen around like a human Beyblade. Now Finn's trying his hardest to help his sister. He tells her that if she wants to live, she needs to fight back. So that's exactly what she does, blowing up the phone booth like she's Elle from Stranger Things. She walks down to grabber and starts talking that shit, telling him that he didn't even bring her there. She brought herself and she can leave whenever she wants. Then she headbutts the grabber and tells him that she'll see him later. Then we see her waking up from her dream. Oh nah, Gwen just went crazy. So the group finds Mondo and revives him back to full health. Finn and Gwen's dad shows up to bring them home, but Gwen decides she's not going anywhere. Then Finn and Gwen get into it because Gwen's being stubborn, and y'all already know how crazy Gwen be talking. She really hit him with the
"You fat, stinking, and you ugly."
Okay.
"You fat, you stink, and you ugly, and you broke monkey."
even told him that he was just like his pops.
I'm like, what did he say fuck me for?
Gwen tells their pops what truly happened to their mother and tells them that the grabber is back. And I could just imagine how confused Donkey is right now. She then explains everything in detail, proving that her dreams are not just dreams, they're real. Then Aunt decides to throw in the towel and help his kids. Oh yeah, we got the power of friendship and family. Nah, it's over for the grabber. So we get to the location of the final battle. Gwen's out here praying to God, the squad searching for the missing bodies, and the grabber's still lurking in the shadows. After a long day of searching, they were only able to recover one body, meaning that the other two are still at the bottom of this frozen lake. Now like LeBron on the Cavs, Gwen decides to put the entire team on her back. She purposely falls asleep, and now it's go time. The grabber spawns in ready to finish what he started. He attacks Ken to disrupt their momentum, but Gwen hits him with the
"Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance."
as she hits his baseball slide right into the lake. Nah, baseball must run in his family because that slide was actually perfect. Finn's arm is mint, but Gwen's slide might be flawless. Now the grabber is absolutely terrorizing Ken. He starts dragging Ken on the ice for about a good 20 seconds. Then he tosses him into his wife, knocking her down and causing her to break her nose. And I was a bit too happy to see this. Even stood up in the theater like,
Let's go! I'm sick of her ass!
Now right here the grabber takes off his mask and decides to lock in, as he says that he isn't done with Barb and Ken. That's a bar by the way, man, stop playing with me. He slices them across the forehead for absolutely no reason at all. Then we see that Gwen has found both of the other boys at the bottom of the lake. Can't lie, Gwen's absolutely carrying right now. The grabber notices Gwen making progress and decides to make her life harder, as he starts breaking the ice that's holding up their cables. Now the grabber's on the move again, trying to make a play. Terrence notices the grabber's location and tries to warn Finn, but it was too late, as he takes off his belt, leaps into the air, and starts choking Finn. He then flips Finn and gets back on his Diddy timing, picking up right where he left off last movie. Shaking my head, he just couldn't help himself, huh? Man got a hold of Finney for a few seconds and completely forgot why he's even here. You's a freaky ass nigga. Gwen and her dad retrieve a body, and things are going just as planned. Then Finn kicks the grabber off him, and Gwen tags in for the ISO. But the ISO was a fake. I knew it. The grabber really thought he was finna get a 1v1 with Gwen, but she called in a score streak. As he rushes her, but a body spawns in, tripping him up. Now right here the grabber lost his axe, but he's still pretty confident. After all, he did spank her in the kitchen 1v1, but the fact that Gwen wasn't even nervous in the slightest should have been a red flag, because he goes for the ISO but gets tripped up by another body, and this time his foot is stuck, meaning that it's all over with.
There's no way out of this one.
you're done. Now the 3 boys have been found, meaning that the grabber is powerless. Gwen axes him in the forehead and rips off his mask. And nah, put it back on because what is that? Finn catches the grabber lacking, and like Gwen said, he is so f***ed because Finn quotes him saying that hell isn't flames, it's ice. Then he starts bashing his skull into the ice. And nah, Finn was moving deviously, had bits and pieces of the grabber's face all over the ice. Gwen axes off his ankle as Finn tosses him into the lake. And all I could think about is how the grabber sold a 3-1 lead. Like the fact that he got cooked after having this huge advantage is crazy. Gwen kicks his mask towards him, then the grabber gets pulled into the water by his victims. He ends up freezing to death, and now Finn and Gwen are smoking his pack. Top 5 brother and sister duo in fiction history. And when it comes to Aura, they're top 1. Now the movie ends with one final call. Gwen's on the phone with her mother from heaven, who tells her that she loves them and that Gwen's power was never a curse. And then this next line right here got me, because she says to tell Finn that Robin said hi. And bro, I was trying my best not to burst into absolute tears. Has to be one of the most beautiful stories I've ever seen. We see everyone driving away, knowing that the grabber is no longer a threat, at least for now, because I think there's a slight possibility that he may come back. Only because right before he died, Gwen let him take back his mask. And I don't know, man. I feel like that mask is more important than we think. Do y'all think he'll return? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, I want to say thank y'all for the support. That first Black Phone vid went double platinum, and y'all showed me mad love. So y'all know I had to run it back for the sequel. I hope I see y'all next vid, and I'm out. Playmate forever.
We so proud of them, yeah. Did that shit again, yeah. I'm gon' proud of them, yeah. Can't go broke again, yeah. We got hella racks, yeah. We so proud of them, yeah. Did that shit again.